You may have caught your wife or girlfriend having an emotional affair or even actually physically cheating on you. You may be thinking, it's over, should I even try to reconcile and get her back? And most conventional wisdom out there, if you watch videos on YouTube or talk to experts or friends or family, they'll tell you it's over. But that's because they lack the full understanding of why people actually cheat. And if you can actually recover from this infidelity, you guys will come back stronger than ever. My name is Josh Hudson. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist. And on this channel, we help you find and keep your ideal relationships to thrive in them by becoming the best version of yourself. Now, I just had a new man join my marriage mastery program. And he came in knowing that his wife was having some type of emotional affair. He wasn't sure if it's physical, but an emotional affair with a man that he knows. Now, this man was actually a family friend, and his wife and his kids would work with him near his house for his local business. When his wife and this man were around, they were starting to be really friendly, and he started to get suspicion. But his wife said, you know, when he first brought the stories, she said, nothing's going on. It's not a big deal. You're overthinking this, okay? We're just friends. Now, I'm gonna go over the most common mistakes a lot of men make in situations like this, and the mistakes he made that actually are more of a guarantee that the woman that you're with, your wife, will be pushed into his arms because of the way you respond. Now, the first thing he did incorrect was what a lot of guys do, and he went through her phone. Now, the reason why this is wrong is because you're justifying that you don't trust your wife. And if you go look for something, you're gonna find it. And even if you don't find anything or you do find something, what I guarantee is that by doing that action, you're confirming that you do not trust your wife. And if you don't trust your wife, you're gonna treat her in a way that makes her want to go do the things that you worst expect or that you don't want the most, okay? This is simply because what's gonna happen is that by doing that action, by snooping on her, by tracking her phone, by going through her text messages, then you start to become more suspicious and more insecure and possessive and delusional even to a fact at that point, where you're making these scenarios up in your mind of things that are actually happening. And what's gonna happen is that you're gonna become the man that she least wants. You're gonna become insecure and needy and jealous, and she's gonna be able to sniff that out. She's not gonna be able to understand exactly what's going on, but you're gonna start to treat her in a way to make it more certain that she is gonna do the thing that you most fear. All right, so after going through his wife's phone, you know, he found nothing. There was no evidence of physical intimacy. The most he found was light banter, light flirting, and it wasn't even saying things like, I love you, or any of that stuff, okay? But his suspicion grew. He fed that suspicion monster, it got bigger. Now that the suspicion was growing, the second mistake that he made was he set the boundary with her incorrectly. Now, there's a spectrum of how to set a boundary correctly and incorrectly. And on this side of the spectrum is incorrect. This side of the spectrum is also incorrect. I'm gonna teach you how to have a healthy setting of a boundary in your need to do so where your wife maintains respect and you deal with the conflict in the best possible way. Now, on one side, he was on the other side. Let's start with this side first. So on this side, men are controlling and aggressive, all right? They allow for no empathy from the wife. So I also use something called the barrier theory in my marriage mastery program, where I want you to imagine your boundaries are like this barrier. Now on this side, there is no opening, there is no freedom. And women, in their feminine nature, they flow, they're energetic, they're spontaneous. They like to have a sense of safety, which the boundaries provide, but if there's no opening, they feel stuck and unsafe. And they need a sense of freedom balanced with that safety. And if there's no freedom, they want to leave for another barrier, essentially. Now, on this end of the spectrum is people who are afraid of conflict. You can give them the nice guy understanding, right? You can say that they are passive, indirect, all the like. Now, this is exactly how he set his boundary, and a lot of men do, because they want to avoid the conflict because they're afraid if I set this boundary really hard, she'll want to leave me and it'll cause a huge problem. So if I do so in an indirect way, she can get the hint, but she won't get that mad at me. That's essentially what they're saying, but it backfires completely. Now, what he did is he started to drop hints that he didn't want his wife to be there. He would say things like, hey, you know, like, you can get this other job over here. I found this other job for you, it's way better. Or like, don't you think the kids should, you know, be away from their mom and do this on their own? And he would say things like that. She picked up on what was really going on here. And the fact of the matter is that because he did this in an indirect manner, she completely lost respect for him. He was being passive, feminine, and weak. And that's a fact. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's truth. If you communicate your boundaries in an indirect manner, your woman will lose respect for you. The boundary looks like this. Scattered, there is no boundary, right? It's all over the place. And you're gonna alter who you are just for her. And if you don't know who you are because you don't have these solid boundaries, she doesn't know who you are. She doesn't want to look up to you. She doesn't feel safe, right? Now, the best way is the assertive way in the middle. Now with this way, I'll tell you exactly what I told him. The first is to express how you authentically feel about the situation. Be upfront. I told him, say to your wife how you feel about their relationship. The next thing you do is you come from a posture of curiosity. Stop making assumptions about why she's doing what she's doing. When you come with a host of assumptions and delusions and anxiety, like we told you before, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna manifest and create the same scenario that you're most afraid of by the way you act. So come from a posture of curiosity. I give him a series of questions that he could ask his wife to get to the truth about why she is seeing him for the way she is and how she's seeing him. And you have to trust that. And the final thing you do when you come to this mutual understanding, then you go about asserting your needs. Because when you start from a place of mutual understanding and a posture of curiosity, it lowers her guard and it gets you on the same page together. And from that same page, you guys can connect. Imagine like there's these two connection blocks, right? And when you guys are on the same level together from this mutual understanding and posture of curiosity, you're able to connect. And when you're connected together, you guys are able to assert your needs towards a happy goal. Let's go on to the third mistake. Now, I want to let you know, before I gave him the correct way to talk to his wife, he made the third mistake first, okay? That third mistake was actually, he floated from one end of the extreme of communication all the way to the other. And an example of this controlling, aggressive type of boundary setting is through what he did, what a lot of guys do, is that he gave an ultimatum. He sat his wife down, he said, look, this is what I found. He showed her the messages. Of course, she became super defensive, reactionary, blamed him, how could you? You don't trust me, all this stuff. And then he said, well, you need to stop seeing him or we're done. 99.9 times out of 100, if you come to your wife with that situation, that scenario, of going about it that way, you can give an ultimatum in a different way, through the assertive way, the correct way, through the posture of curiosity, the empathy, the understanding, the connection. But if you go about it the way that he did, she's always gonna leave you because you're coming across as controlling. You're giving her no options. You're not seeking to understand her. If she doesn't feel understood, why does she want to be with you? Now, this is one example of many that a lot of guys mess up when it comes to their wife seeing another man. And there's a lot of different examples of how things can go wrong. And there's plenty of examples of how to do this right, because when you are able to assert yourself in the correct way, you can maintain respect, deal with conflict with your wife, and you use this situation to make your guys stronger than before. That when inevitable conflict comes up in the marriage or relationship again, you have the tools and the skills to deal with it because of a difficult scenario like this. If you go through hell with your wife and you come out on the other side, you can deal with anything with her. And it is possible, okay? Again, there's limited spots each week to talk to me or my marriage evaluator. So what you can do right now, if you need help saving your marriage, saving your relationship, click the link down below, fill out the application, select the time. You only talk to committed men, so make sure you're committed, and I'd love to help you out. Thanks for watching the video.